Coming up next, Rick Bayless's many appearances on Nude Hippo.
Whatever. We're now joined by Rick Bayless. Rick!
Yay!
Hello!
You got that popular show on PBS that I
Oh,
love to
it
watch
couldn't
every
be
Saturday.
nearly as popular as this show.
Which it is very surprising, but I think your show might be a little bit more popular.
No. We're on the educational channel, okay?
Oh no, your show is absolutely entertaining. In fact, one thing I'm very impressed with is the fact that you go throughout Mexico telling a story, and you go to different areas, and the way it's put together is one sentence is over here, you're talking about this product, and then you're over here, and it's all pieced together seamlessly, and you're back in the kitchen, and it's like, oh my God.
Because it's Mexico one plate at a time.
It is. And that's what we love to do, because Mexico is such an intriguing country. There's so many different aspects of it that it's fabulous to take people from one spot to the next. And we wanted to create a sort of story, go on an adventure, really discover the byways of Mexico.
I have to ask you, are you Mexican?
I am not Mexican,
No.
but
Okay.
I think in a former life I was Mexican.
Okay.
At least that's what people have told me.
Okay.
Because I went to Mexico when I was 14 for the first time, and I not only fell in love with it, but I felt like I had come home. And that's why I kept going back to Mexico. I eventually ended up living there for a long time, and this is what it's all turned into.
Right.
Joe Kraslin is a guy that works on a show here. He's a street reporter, and whenever he goes out on the field shoots, he's always just telling the cameraman how to do certain angles and to be creative and all that, and he gives credit to you.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, he says you gotta be more like the Rick Bayless.
Rick Bayless.
We have a lot of fun when we do that, as you can imagine. And this last season, the one that just started, our third season, it's much more sort of guerrilla shooting. And we used to try to go into marketplaces and say, okay, you do this, you do that, to the vendors. And we've stopped doing that completely. And we just barrel through crowds of people, and people are handing me things. One lady tapped me on the shoulder right in the middle of one take and said, you shouldn't tell them about that, that's too hot. She said that in English.
You're kidding.
And we was like, where did that come from? But of course it made the scene.
Right.
And would you like to introduce our next guest?
I think I would, because his restaurant is one of my favorites in the city of Chicago. We have Rick Bayless on the show with us today.
You're making me blush.
Oh my God,
already.
stop it. You're making me blush. I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you.
I can't believe it. Are you of Mexican descent?
No. I went to Mexico when I was a teenager, and I just fell in love with it. It was almost like going home rather than going to a foreign country, and I just kept wanting to go back. And I guess I must have been Mexican in an earlier life or something like that. I don't know.
You reincarnated as an American or something. What is your favorite dish on your menu? Can you even say it?
Oh, absolutely not. That would be like saying what was my favorite child or something like that.
I guess that's true.
And then if I said it was the steak, everybody go, huh? What's the guy wanting to eat a steak for? No, our menu changes constantly.
Yep.
So I always say my favorite dish is the one I'm going to have for dinner tonight, and I haven't quite figured that out yet.
So now I have to ask you, just from a Chicago point of view.
Yes.
So do you and Charlie Trotter and Tony Montano get together on the weekends and just talk food? I think that would be my dream. You know what I mean? Just seriously.
I tell you, it's kind of funny because as chefs, we work a lot, and we're like lots of other artists where we're just really into what we're doing and the development that we're doing, and sometimes you just need a break from all of that. So getting together to do more of that would be a little bit more like work. But sometimes it's fun to get together with all my cronies and just have a good dinner where we never mention food. We just have some good bottles of wine, some great dishes, but we don't talk about it. We just enjoy the experience.
I was going to say, I don't know if I want to invite you over to my house for dinner. I mean, that would be
I
intimidating.
want somebody to invite me over. Is there anybody out there that would invite me over?
I clearly couldn't serve
Please.
Mexican food. That would definitely not be on the cuisine for the evening.
Watching your show, you often are at your own house cooking, and I have to say, you have a kick-ass yard to cook in. You have every ingredient. You have a oven outside. You have a real nice kitchen inside. I mean, man.
It's a dream.
Yeah.
It's a dream. I'm not a chef that's really interested in a lot of bells and whistles. I just like to have a good sort of restaurant-style stove that'll give me a lot of heat, a good set of knives, and room to spread out.
And
that's
fresh ingredients.
Really fresh ingredients. And, the thing that I've dreamed about since I was little was having one of those wood-burning pizza ovens, and I got one. So it's like, oh, gosh, I don't know if I pinch myself.
You can die now.
Really, I'll be very, very happy.
And, you know, we got now. It's Rick Bayless. Rick!
How are you doing?
Welcome back to the show.
My pleasure to be back with you.
Where do you find the time?
Sometimes I wonder about that myself. I have this phenomenal staff of people that I work with, and it's just, we all get together and brainstorm, and the next thing you know, something's done.
And you don't have the simple show where you just have a little kitchen set and you do some cooking. You take and you show how the recipe is done from the ingredients, and you go to Mexico and you show the ingredients, and you come back up here, you cook it, go back down there, you go in your yard, you're all over the place.
We do, because I want to show where the food originates. Without that, it's really hard to explain to somebody why the food is cooked the way it is or why the flavor is the way that it is. And so I really have a good time taking people to Mexico. So every show we dedicate half of our minutes to filming in Mexico.
In fact, you have Frontera Grill.
That's right.
And Tapa, I can never pronounce this one.
It's a Topolobampo, but you don't have to worry, my mother can't say it either. So.
But I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but every year you shut down and fly the staff down to Mexico.
We do. There's like 35 or 40 of us that go to Mexico every year, and we've done that for the last 15 years. We go to a different region of Mexico and really learn about the culture.
Ingredients and everything. I love that.
And then we come back and we make a brand new menu that's just based on that trip.
All right, and we're going to do something today.
Yeah, we are.
What are we doing?
We're making guacamole. Can you believe that?
Let's go. Okay. Let's go. I'm excited. Let's go back there.
All righty. I've got it all set up.
Oh,
sort of
beautiful.
Television chef style.
Sure, the glass bowl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what that is?
No, I've never.
That's a tomatillo. It's a little husk tomato.
Okay.
And pull back the papery skin on it.
Oh
there.
my goodness!
That's what you have to do.
Yeah,
and then you got to cook them. You can either boil them. I roasted these, and I've got some that are cut apart here. Some garlic, and do you know what that is?
Is that
what would you think it is?
Looks like a pepper.
It's a pepper, but it's not a jalapeno. It's the hotter cousin.
By the way, this is
it's a habanero?
No, this one's actually called a serrano. And I'm just going to hack that
like
up.
Like Lossano?
Put it in there. Serrano. Are you challenged? Okay, so I'm going to put all of this in. These are the cooked tomatillos, roasted garlic, and that serrano chili there. Put it into the food processor, and then I'm just going to chop it up kind of roughly.
Right.
Okay, that's going to be the flavoring for this guacamole. Now, I know that most people will say, that's not guacamole if it has that green stuff in it, but it's my favorite guacamole. So I'm just going to show you how to do it, okay? We'll just not let anybody interfere at this point. You know what this stuff is?
Some green leafy stuff.
It's green leafy stuff.
Basil? Parsley?
Oh my God. You are more than challenged. Okay, smell it. Smell it. There is nothing that smells quite like that. There you go. I am so proud. That is really wonderful. Okay, so we got to put some of this stuff in because it's not a good guacamole. I tell you.
In Chicago, where can they find fresh stuff like this?
Yeah. Across the street from this studio, let me tell you, you guys got to get out more. Okay, just cilantro. Every regular grocery store will have all of these things.
Stuff?
Just look around, okay? It's all in the produce department, okay?
Now, I'm just saying the first things that come to my head. I'm not really thinking.
Yes, I noticed that. Okay.
Well, I know that one of the things that you do is you grow the stuff in your yard, and you say if you could do it from your own yard, it's the best.
It certainly is because you're going to get the freshest stuff. But of course, in the middle of the winter in Chicago, you can just walk across to any grocery store and find all this stuff. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of chopped onion in there. And then I'm going to add some salt to it. Now, there's avocado that I had already put down in there, but I'm going to show you how you work with an avocado. First of all, you got to make sure that it's ripe.
I took a cooking class last week. I know how.
Did you? Okay, so now if it's soft on the big end of it, then it's ready to use. I'm going to turn off that. Okay, there you go. Cutting around the pit, like that. Twist the two sides apart, like that. Okay, well, I'm going to do it with my knife. You shouldn't try this at home, okay? So
you're a professional.
I'm a professional. Do you know what this is?
No.
No, of course you don't, because no one else has one but me.
Yeah,
actually, we're going to come out with these in the marketplace in about, 6 or 8 months.
Show the audience real quick.
Sure, it looks like, maybe something that you...
Something that
melted. It actually is. It looks like something that melted. Or something that maybe you shouldn't be using in the kitchen. But you scoop it.
I see, yeah.
Scoop it out like that, and there you go. Okay, so then you can use this thing as a masher as well. Whoa! What do you think about that?
Did you invent that?
I sort of did. Whoops, that didn't work, did it?
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, well, we won't talk too much about my sloppy skills here. So just mash all this stuff together. And then I'm going to give it a taste to make sure that it's all good.
Right.
This is such a great guacamole because you can put this out at a party and it'll still look like this in 2 or 3 hours. It doesn't darken like a lot of guacamoles.
Do you put lemon on it or something?
No, it's because those little tomatillos, that stuff right there, those are really high in acid and they're just absolutely wonderful in the flavor of this. I'm going to give it a little taste to make sure that. Why don't you open one of those bags of chips over there?
The blue corn chips.
Okay.
Look at that.
You know what's amazing? I asked Rick before the show if he ever just gets tired of cooking. He said never.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Someone who loves cooking.
Oh, wait till you
Never.
taste this. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. My favorite guacamole. Well, you tell me if it's your favorite guacamole. I don't know. You've never tasted it before.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And I'm picky about guacamole.
You are? Mm-hmm. And this one works?
I love it.
Okay,
Now,
good.
is this recipe available in the book? Because this book is what, 20 years ago you came out with the anniversary edition.
This is the 20th anniversary edition. This was my first cookbook.
Yeah.
And no, it doesn't have that recipe in
No,
it.
but,
so our viewers do have to kind of push the rewind button and see what I did there. 20 years ago, I didn't know that really great recipe.
Well, this is a very good one, though. And I've had several of your books, and I've made many of your dishes.
This is another guacamole that's the one that we serve in our restaurant. So anybody that likes that one, well, then they can just go buy this book, and you'll find that recipe.
Well, we'll put everything up on our website, nudehippo.com.
Right.
Links to your...
and this recipe, too?
Yes, we'll find it.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
fine.
Oh, it's got some kick.
I was just sort of
let's
winging
kick back.
it with this, so it may be a little different than the recipe you put up on your website. But
Well, it's awesome. Well, thank you, Rick. I appreciate you coming back.
My pleasure. It's always loads of
you so
fun to be
much.
here.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog. Good night, Mr. Walters.
Tony, can you shut up?
Meow.